Hey guys, David here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make your own Ethernet cables. Now this is a way cheaper alternative to buying pre-made cables. You can make them any length you want, and it's actually not that hard to do once you get the hang of it. So let's jump right into it. Alright, I've got everything you need laid out here. A couple of these tools are optional, so I'll go through all of them, and I'll also leave a link on Amazon to everything I'm using here today down in the description below. Now first, of course, you'll need a box of Ethernet cable. I have Cat5e here today. Now I recommend using Cat6 or Cat6a these days if you're buying a new box, since it's quite a bit faster and more future-proof, but I bought this box like 10 years ago and I still have quite a bit left, so it's what I'll be using today. You also want to make sure that you get solid copper cable and not copper-clad aluminum or CCA. You might be drawn to the price of CCA cable since it's cheaper, but it's technically not compliant to the Ethernet specification, and solid copper is much better quality for data transmission. I have Monoprice brand cable here, which is solid copper. You also want to stay away from anything labeled Cat7, Cat8, or higher, since those aren't real standards and you can't be sure of what you're actually getting. Next, you'll want RJ45 connectors rated for whatever kind of cable you're using. So since I'm using Cat5e cable here, these are rated for Cat5e. These are not pass-through connectors, but you can follow this video regardless if you're using pass-through or non-pass-through connectors. I'll explain what you have to do for both. Actually, I know pass-through connectors are more common these days and easier to use, but again, I bought these a while ago and it's what I have, so it's what I'll be using. Now these are optional, but I recommend them. They're strain relief boots for the ends of your cables. It just makes them a bit stronger and more resilient to pulling and bending at the connector. I have an RJ45 crimping tool to attach the RJ45 connectors to the wire. Now mine also has a blade for cutting wires, and I also have a pair of scissors, but if you don't have either of these, you should get a pair of wire cutters as well. And finally, I have a cable tester. Now this is optional, but I highly recommend it. It's not that expensive. This is just a basic one that tests electrical conductivity, not data transmission, but you can get more advanced ones that test data transmission as well. I normally just use this and then run a speed test on whatever device I'm using the cable on once I'm done to make sure that I'm getting the speeds I expect. Alright, enough about the tools, let's get started on actually making the cable. So first you'll want to pull the amount of wire that you want out of your box. I normally also pull about an extra 30 centimeters or an extra foot for my American friends, just because it's good to have a bit of slack in your cable, as well as we'll be trimming the ends to attach the connectors. So just pull a bit more than you need and then cut it. Next, I'll take the cutting part of my crimping tool, or you can use wire cutters or scissors, and I'll just strip the outer insulation of the cable on both sides. I normally strip about 5 to 10 centimeters or 2 to 3 inches. And when you're done, you'll have the wires exposed on both sides like this. When you're cutting the outer insulation, make sure not to accidentally go too deep with the cutter and make cuts on these wires inside here. Now I'm just going to cut this string inside on both ends using my scissors here right down to the insulation. And before I forget, I'm just going to put my strain relief boots on both ends of the cable with the larger side facing out. The worst is crimping the RJ45 connectors to the cable and then realizing that you forgot to add these, so I'm just going to add them now before I forget. And I'll just put them in the middle of the cable for now. Alright, next is the fun part, but real quick, if you're finding this helpful so far, give the video a like and consider subscribing for more DIY tech tips like this. So I'm going to do all the next steps one side at a time, but basically I'm going to separate and untwist all of these pairs of wires here. If you're using Cat6 or Cat6a here, you're going to have a little bit more unwinding to do, but that's fine, just keep unwinding. And now we're going to put the wires in order. So there are two different orders you can choose from that I'll leave on the screen now. The T568A standard and the T568B standard. It doesn't matter which one you pick, just pick one and make sure to use the same one on both sides of the cable. I'm going to be using the B standard today, but just pick one and stick to it. Don't quote me on this, but my understanding is that B is more common in North America and A is more common in Europe. Now those of you with a little more electrical knowledge might be asking, well, David, as long as they're in the same orders on both ends, shouldn't it technically do the job? Well, electrically yes, but it's a little more complicated than that when it comes to data. These two standards have been proven to minimize crosstalk and yield the best results when it comes to data transmission. So make sure to choose one of the normal standards and stick to it. Alright, I've got my wires put in the order of the T568B standard. So that's striped orange, orange, striped green, blue, striped blue, green, striped brown, brown. I'm just going to kind of work the wires so that they're flat but stay in the right order. And one thing I want to point out is it makes it way easier to attach the RJ45 connectors if at the very bottom of the cable, right where we've cut into the outer insulation, you're able to ensure that the cables lie flat in the correct order when you push on them with your thumb, kind of like this. That may involve untwisting the pairs of wires a little bit deeper underneath the outer insulation. Now, if you have pass-through connectors, you can just pass in your wires, skip to the crimping part of this video with the timestamp on the screen, crimp, cut the wires on the outside of the connector, and you're done. But if you have non-pass-through connectors like me, it's a little more work to get this done correctly. So using my scissors, I'm just going to cut the wires down to about the length of my RJ45 connector, and it's going to make a mess in the meantime, but that's okay. Now remember that you can always cut more but not less, so just keep that in mind there. And once I've done that, I'm just going to push them into the connector, ensuring that they stay in the right order. Now, this is the trick with these non-pass-through connectors. The first time, I kind of press the wires quite hard into the connector, and then I just pull them back out. And then using my scissors, I just trim a tiny little bit at the end here just to make sure that they're all completely flat, like that. And I'll just push them back into the RJ45 connector here, kind of press them in a little hard. And if we look at the very end of the connector here, we can see that all the wires are touching the very end of the connector, which is what we want. If you've made it to this point of the video with pass-through connectors, your wires should be in the correct order and sticking out from the end of the connector after you've pushed them in and through. You'll want to wait till after we crimp the connector to cut the ends of your wires off. Now this is very important regardless of what kind of connector you're using. You're going to want to make sure that the outer jacket of the cable comes past this little tab in here that gets pressed down when we crimp. Otherwise the cable won't be anywhere near as strong. Now you should either press the cable into the connector as far in as you can to make sure that the jacket is underneath that tab, or you should cut more of the wires if you're using a non-pass-through connector like me to make sure that it's under that tab. Alright, now we crimp the cable to the connector, so I'm just going to put it in my crimping tool like that, and I'm going to make sure that everything is aligned and the wires are pushed in. I'll press down really hard for a second, and I'll pull it out. And if we look at all the pins and the plastic tab at the top, they're all pressed down into the wires and into the insulation here, so we know that the crimp was successful, and I also can't pull the connector off. Now, if you're using pass-through connectors, at this point you'll want to cut the wires with scissors or even a razor blade on the outside of the connector and get it as flush with the edge of the connector here as you can. And that's it, we're done on this side. Now you'll just want to repeat the exact same process on the other side, so I'll do that here and I'll come back once I'm done. Alright, I've got my connectors crimped on both sides, and now if you're using strain relief boots, at this point you can bring them up and just put them over the connectors. And one thing I like to do is almost work this tab cover a bit on both sides with my thumb to break it in. Otherwise I find they can be too stiff and sometimes they press on the release tabs on the connector and it makes the cable come out of whatever device it's attached to, so that's not good. So I just like to work those in a bit and just make them a little less stiff. And that's it, I have an Ethernet cable, so I should test it with my cable tester here. So I'm just going to plug it into both sides. And with this kind of tester, I'll just turn it on. And I'll make sure that all 8 lights light up on both sides for the 8 wires in the cable, and that both sides light up in the same order. If some of the lights don't light up on this side, or they light up in different orders, it means one or both ends of your cable are crimped incorrectly, and you should check the order of the wire on both ends, and make sure that they're coming right into the end of the connector. But in my case, it looks like the cable is good, all lights light up in the correct order, so I can go ahead and actually use this cable on a device. And like I said in the beginning, I like running a speed test just to make sure that the cable is running at the speed I expect of my equipment. If this video helped you out, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. And now you know how to make your own Ethernet cables, and you can ditch the overpriced pre-made cables.